What are they then? First one?
First one is...
I wrote them down too.
That's mine, I believe, Lincoln Survey.
Lincoln, yeah.
Lincoln University with a whole variety of other partners, Irrigation New Zealand through to Forest and Bird, and a number of government agency sponsors a very comprehensive survey on the state of the environment and public perceptions about it. They've just released their latest one. It's the 8th in a series, and I guess I would add, it's a pretty voluminous piece of work, and I was hoping that perhaps the staff could just produce a 2-page précis of what some of the findings of that are that might be most relevant to us, because there are a number of them that have to do with perceptions of how we treat our waterways, where people see the problems being, and particularly as we're now moving into our own planning processes, it might be nice to have some greater awareness of what the public at large thinks ought to be happening in the environmental sphere. I'd also say this council occasionally, I guess every other year or so, conducts a survey about public perceptions of its own behavior. Personally, I think that's just a money-making machine for the survey company that has convinced every council to take the same survey every other year, and that we might look at this survey, the Lincoln one, as a more useful tool if we were to decide as part of our long-term planning process that we wish to have some sense of where our Hawke's Bay public was on these issues.
I don't think, does that require an answer or right now, or is it
I agree with Tom. I'd like it to be an action item.
an action item?
Chair, look, I could just add that staff are aware of the survey. We noted its release. We're familiar with its previous iterations, and we can certainly bring a summary forward, so we will do.
Okay, thank you. Next item? What was the next one? Minimum living wage, that's an interesting one for us.
Thank you, Chair. This relates to an article that was on television news, I think maybe a couple of days ago, which was pointing out that there is work done on determining what a minimum level wage that is required to live in New Zealand versus what the minimum hourly rate is, and there was quite a gap between the two, and I should have noted the figure for the minimum living wage, but it was $20.50 or something, 2020. I want to know if anybody in this organisation is being paid less than that, and if so, how many people are being paid less than that, and I think it's something we should address. I would not like to think that we're sitting as governors of an organisation that's paying less than the minimum living wage.
Can I also add to that, Chair, that as part of that feedback from staff, that we perhaps I also want to get a sense of, is it part of our, if we have contractors working on our behalf, that's part of the contract condition, is that these staff are also paid a living wage?
Yeah, Chair, could I just look, I'll just to let councillors know that this has been a subject of discussion with the executive, and last year we did a little review and determined that there was nobody in the organisation that was paid below that level, although a query around some of our student staff over the summer, but there is no policy position with respect to contractors. Are councillors wanting any particular work done on this question, other than us just to double check the status of all staff?
Well, could I just say, for me, I'd like advice on the status of all staff, including contractors. When that advice comes in, we can then think about what we want to do. I have a very clear view that we should pay a decent pay to all staff and contractors, and we shouldn't be using contract situations to pay people less than what they deserve for the job. And I think it's part of our moral responsibility to ensure that people who work on our work are paid appropriately for their work. And I'd like to have a debate on that, but before we have the debate, I want to know exactly what the facts are, But it's giving you a statement of position for me. It will be no different any other time.
That would be my position too. So James, you'll come back to us on that. Now, what was the other one? There was a third one. No, that was the fourth one. Oh, is that we've done them all. Taniwha Dragon then. So just to report to councillors that I attended the Taniwha Dragon conference for the last 2 days. I also attended the Pōwhiri at Waipatu Marae for the visitors to the Taniwha Dragon on Sunday. It was quite an amazing conference. If you could sit in that room and you didn't take something away or didn't take 5 or 6 things that could benefit your life or your business or your the company that you worked for, then you were asleep. It was quite stunning presentations, best I've ever seen. But the compelling thing is that Māoridom is on a roll. There is no doubt about that in terms of a business sense, and working their culture into that, and how they're telling the stories of their culture along with business is quite stunning and going to have a big impact in New Zealand. So happy to talk to anyone about that a bit further. I just have to note that the Pōwhiri for Matatini is on 11 o'clock, and I should have given notice, but I intend to attend that. Should have given notice, but I thought we might get through the meeting, and we probably will. And then Matatini is on for the next few days up till Sunday, and we have some tickets. I really recommend anyone who can attend to attend. I'll tell a little story. I did the Pōwhiri at Te Ranga Marae yesterday as well, and the kingitanga came in, and it was just quite startling. We had our kids from Kimiora, which is probably the most difficult school in Hawke's Bay. They were just absolutely stunning, but then the kingitanga replied, and I'd never seen anything like it in my life. They did their whakapapa back, and they were all doing different hakas simultaneous. It was just unbelievable. So this will be an event that you won't see again in Hawke's Bay for a long time, and some of the companies that are coming, and that kingitanga one was quite extraordinary, but they're probably all going to be extraordinary. So if you can pop along, I'll definitely recommend it.
Just in relation to a late paper we've received, which is your report,
Oh, yeah,
Chair,
yeah.
I'm interested in anything that might have come out of the regional sector meeting that you attended in Wellington that might have some relevance to us as a council.
Firstly, most of you know that I don't have much time for things that happen in Wellington. So I went there with lots of prejudices. But I must say I really enjoyed the day. I really enjoyed, it was a bit tense at the dinner, but the following day was, I really enjoyed it. I got a lot out of it. There was no doubt about it. There was a lot of good information on lots of stuff. Too much to talk about here, but it was a very rewarding experience for me. And probably the best one, which I will tell you about is, as you know, I have no time for ECAN. I have no time for the process that's occurred there, and I've given them hell since I've been on council, and I refuse to meet with them. Well, the ECAN guy, he sits right opposite me, and I look at his name, and it's David Bedford. I think that's a pretty common name. And then he leaned around and he said, "It's been 52 years, Rex." He's in my class at Boys High. So we kind of settled some scores there, and I told him what I thought of him, and got that out of the way. And he said he didn't disagree with anything I said. Actually, it is not appropriate. What's that, sorry? Yeah, it isn't appropriate. It's still not appropriate, but I must admit, David was always really smart at school, and I enjoyed his company. I enjoyed the company of everyone there. There was a bunch of very talented people in the room, and it was well worthwhile. And I will bite my lip and continue to go. And happy to share lots of things. There was lots of really good stuff come out of it.
Just in terms of February the 10th,
Yeah.
Mr Chairman. You say Te Kaha also attended. Just for those of you that don't know, he's a member of the staff here. So it's not the battleship or the place. It's Te Kaha Ikarawairangi, the person.
Yeah, we had a very good meeting. Te Kaha's taking a big role with the owners of the Ahuri Estuary and the owners of the bed of Lake Tutera. It's a separate role with council, so he really had a really good contribution, and I think that he's going to have a big contribution going forward.
It's just further to that, when he started 2 years ago, he'd come through the Ngā Whenarahui 2-year mentoring process, and I said to him when I introduced him to the CEO, or 3 years ago, that he would be replacing him at some day. So the time has come quicker than we thought.
That's what this is all about all along. Beautifully done, Mike.
Sorry I got the report a bit late, but had a lot of things on. Any other questions to my chairman's report?
Chair, I'm not sure whether it's something you might think about, but in terms of this report, I'm interested in what's coming up, anything significant in the next month that we might have the opportunity to have a little bit of input into what's going on in your diary. I know that it's pretty revolving fast. But,
You know, I'll try and do that.
is there anything that
Because
coming
I am
up?
a little bit sad that, for instance, I wasn't deadly certain how good the Taniwha conference was going to be. But Tom Skirman did attend, but he was the only other one who did. And I noted he sat through the whole thing, and it was a good opportunity for me to catch up with him too. But there were some serious players there, and in retrospect, I would have liked a lot more of our team, especially the HBRC, which you raised me. It would have been useful for them to be there. All the major players in the treaty claimant groups were there. It was an opportunity for me to have a conversation, but it would have been good to have other councillors there as well. So you can't guess if these things are going to be really good or not in Marydon. That's right, Mr. Moy.
Just in support of that, there was every Maori that was anybody was there, and a cross-section of business. I was actually a little bit sceptical that this could be pulled together. It was actually mind-boggling.
It was mind-boggling, yeah, it was. Yeah, that was the who's who. They turned up in the end. As a matter of fact, he was excluding people. Someone rang up, I've forgotten what it was, and said, no, too late, like the boss of the BNZ or something. Too late. Just Matatini, 40,000 tickets sold. This is going to be something that Hawke's Bay's never seen before. Any other questions in my report? Otherwise, thank you, Tom. Move to set my report. Have a second there. All those in favour, set my report. Aye.